Okay, calling the meeting to order at 2 p.m. This is an open hearing, and for the purpose of pursuant to in accordance with Section 2307 of the New York Public Authorities Law, the Auburn Industrial Development Authority, the authority, is conducting this public hearing in connection with a certain proposed project as more fully defined below, the 2020 project, to be undertaken by the authority for the benefit of Tessy Medical Products, LLC, the company. Okay, the floor is open for the public hearing. Do we have anybody that wishes to speak?
We do have a caller. Who is on the phone?
This is Lisa Dial, Rob's assistant.
No, I've got you. We
Okay.
have someone who called in from, that's just listed as caller 3. Rob, how does this work if we don't know who's on the call?
Well, that's a good question. Anybody who wants to give input or to speak on behalf or against the project will need to announce themselves for purposes of attendance.
And give their name and address.
Yeah. And the difficulty with not doing that is only residents of the city of Auburn are entitled to speak. And the project operator are entitled to speak for or against the project. So if you are on call and you wish to speak, please make yourself known and tell us where you live. If you just wish to listen in, that's perfectly fine. But if you wish to speak, you will need to announce yourself and where you live.
Rowdy bunch tonight.
Yeah. We'll leave the floor open for a couple of minutes to see if anybody else calls in.
Rob, can we start the meeting and start having discussion and then close the public hearing before we vote?
I would close the public hearing first and then open up the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just wait it out for a few minutes then.
Yeah. And if any board members wish to speak on this at the public hearing, they're perfectly welcome to.
Oh, hello, Gwen. So we've opened the public hearing and we're just waiting on comments.
Yeah. I was simply going to, this Roger Beer, board member, I was just going to simply say, I was remiss in not saying it last time, but given the tremendous need for testing in this particular pandemic that we are all involved with, it just it is a very positive thing that a local industry is such as Tessy is taking on this project, and it really is a testimony to the folks in Central New York to at least make a contribution to solving this issue. So I thank them for their efforts.
And Terry, I see you just joined us. We're in the public hearing. Not much commenting happening to this point. Roger just thanked Tessy for their efforts and responding to the current crisis, and we are just awaiting any other comments that may come.
Tracy, have you had any indication by mail or email of anybody that wished to speak?
I have not. I did not get any written comments or anything of that nature.
Rob, does 5 minutes suffice to wait?
Let's leave it open until 2:10 and then we can probably call it.
Okay, very good.
We'll use the old one that I used in college when the professor didn't show up.
And that would be?
10 minutes and then you skate.
And everybody showed up that day too, right?
Of course. Never missed a day.
Well, I'm sure if Jim had his way at 2 o'clock, you were already 10 minutes late, so.
I concur.
Must be a military thing. Although I will say I was the only one here at 1:50, so everybody was late. Good work.
Point taken.
Actually, I got the wrong piece of paper out and called the number for the meeting next week.
Oh, geez.
I would have waited.
I did
Would've
too.
waited
That's
a
why I
long
was
time.
late, Jim. I apologize.
Sorry. Moving forward, I'm creating a room, so this won't happen.
Yeah, normally we don't have this many meetings all at one time.
Kevin or Joe, did you have anything to add as the applicant at this point?
Nothing new to add, other than the materials that we presented last week.
Did everybody get a copy of the compromise that we came up with that you sent out, Tracy? I don't know if everybody, I can't remember who was on the list.
Yep, the whole board got the authorizing resolution, which had some language in it, and then the language we intend to use in the closing documents. The board
So
received.
everybody should have gotten it. Okay, fine.
I have 2:10.
Okay.
Keeper.
Okay, we will close the public meeting at this time. And is there a motion on the floor to go to a special meeting?
That's Gwen.
I move.
I'll second.
Okay. Yeah.
Background noise from you, so I'm just gonna mute you a little bit. Oh,
Who are we
there you
getting
go.
feedback?
Got it.
Okay. A special meeting of the Auburn Industrial Development Authority was convened via teleconference and video conference in the city of Auburn on May 15th, 2020 at 2:11 p.m. The following resolution was duly offered and seconded, to wit, resolution approving the grant of financial assistance and the execution by the Auburn Industrial Development Authority, the authority of an agent agreement, amended and
Jim?
restated lease agreement.
Guys, we want to do the seeker resolution first.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I see it says regular meeting. I'll switch it to special meeting, but go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to need a motion. No, the meeting is, we're all set up, the meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
The resolution as follows. Resolution of the Auburn Industrial Development Authority, the authority classifying the Medical Products LLC project as more fully described below as a type 2 action under the Seeker Act.
So for clarity, this resolution is not authorizing any sort of benefits. This is simply a environmental review resolution indicating that we don't anticipate there being a significant, well, I guess it's not subject to seeker. I think this is what this is saying. Is that right, Rob?
Well, what we're saying is that it's a type 2 action, specifically that it's not going to have a significant effect on the environment. And in this case, it's going to be routine activities. It's not going to add anything or subtract anything from the floor space of the building. Basically, there's going to be alterations inside the building. So there's not going to be a significant impact on the environment.
Okay, I will need a motion to accept the resolution or put the resolution on the table, the seeker resolution. Jimmy, second, please.
Barry?
Tracy, this is Kevin. I just came off mute. If I could ask Rob a question. Rob, isn't this really an unlisted action as opposed to a type 2? A type 2 being an action which is exempted from any need for the agency to make a determination. And so I think the thrust of your resolution is correct, that there's no negative environmental impact, but I think it's probably more classified as an unlisted as opposed to a type 2.
My environmental people said it's a type 2. I'm not an environmental lawyer. They went through it and looked at it and said it's a type 2. Do you have an opinion? You have an opinion either way?
Yeah, to me, a type 2 is one that follows the long list in NYCRR where an agency does not have to take any action because, for example, an environmental review is being done by the PSC or something of that nature. In this case, that's not the case. We don't have an exemption here. A review by the AIDA is required, which you've just done and passed the resolution. But I think the classification is that it's an unlisted, meaning that it's not a type 1 because it doesn't have significant size or area or land modifications. And also that it's not a type 2, which is one that's exempt. So I think the proper classification is that it's an unlisted action. And therefore, that would be the amendment to that resolution that I would like to have on the record.
I don't think I have a problem with going with an unlisted action in this case. Like I said, that wasn't my determination. That was from Wendy Marsh, who I'm sure you're familiar with. So we can change it to an unlisted action and make that finding.
So, Mr. Chairman, if the record could just reflect that the resolution as passed by the board is reclassified as an unlisted action, I think that would do it.
Has not been passed yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
fine.
No, it has
Thank you,
not been
Tracy.
passed yet. It's still open.
That's great.
It's still open. So we can just change it, the finding, to an unlisted action and pass it as modified.
Thank you.
Okay, then I would require a motion to accept the resolution as an unlisted action versus a type 2 action.
Correct.
Okay. Could I have a motion, please? Could I have-
So moved, Roger Beer.
And a second, please?
Jimmy,
Jim's, who made the motion?
Roger.
Roger Beer, Roger did.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the resolution as amended? I think we definitely need a roll call vote on this one. Tracy?
Mr. Dacey,
Here? Yes.
Mr. Andre, Miss Weber McLeod,
Aye.
Mr. Beer,
Aye.
Mr. Cuddy, Mr. Gasper.
Aye.
What are you saying? Sorry.
Yes,
Mr.
I'm sorry,
Kelly?
I was muted. I apologize.
Okay. Mr. Gravius,
Yes.
Mr. Lavarnway, Mr. Giantino,
Aye.
Did we get everybody?
Yes.
No against or I think that we had enough for pass, right?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Now we can do the second resolution.
Correct.
Okay. The following resolution was duly offered and seconded. Resolution approving the grant of financial assistance and the execution by the Auburn Industrial Development Authority, the authority of an agent agreement, amended and restated lease agreement, amended and restated leaseback agreement, second amended and restated pilot agreement, and related documents with respect to the Tessy Medical Products LLC project. I believe Jimmy, who else? We already put that on the table.
Nope, not yet.
Pardon me?
We have not yet.
Well, I thought we did that and then, okay. Well, we'll do it again. Is there a motion on the floor?
Here.
That's Terry.
Second, Brandon, Jimmy, then Brandon, thank you. Discussion?
So the authorizing resolution this is the resolution that actually authorizes the benefits that are outlined in terms of sales and use tax and the pilot. Over the last week, we have been working on the recapture waiver, and the resolution does include language around waiving the recapture, but providing a termination right to the IDA under the circumstance of the facility becoming vacant for a period of time. The way it is stated right now is to have the project, it provides Tessy if the facility should go down below 25 employees or 25 FTEs, They have 18 months to provide a reuse plan and then 6 months for implementation. If they do not follow that timeline, the IDA could terminate the pilot. So this just provides a little bit of, it provides some accountability and some protection for the IDA, but also some flexibility for Tessy considering the circumstances.
Jimmy?
Thank you, Mr. Dacey. You know, while the role of AIDA is to promote and assist local business in the city of Auburn, you know, I think we have a dual purpose in protecting the public trust as well. When this was originally presented, I did have some concerns with the absence of a recapture clause, but I did understand where Tessy was coming from in their position. So I want to thank them for compromising with us and putting some protection in there. I think that's important. And, you know, I want to echo Roger's comments earlier. Not only are they going to be providing a much needed service during this health pandemic, you know, anytime we can have 200 additional jobs in the city of Auburn and an infusion of $9.2 million into the local economy, that's a great thing, especially during these times. So I plan on supporting this, and I just want to acknowledge Tessy for compromising with us and working with us.
I think we would all agree to that, Jimmy. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dacey,
Yes.
Mr. Andre, Ms. Weber McLeod,
Yes.
Mr. Beer,
Aye.
Mr. Cuddy,
Yes.
Mr. Gasper,
Yes.
Mr. Gravius,
Yes.
Mr. LaBarnway, Mr. Giantino,
Yes.
Okay. The resolution's passed. Now, I don't believe that we have any more business to discuss at this point.
We do not. That is it. We do have a meeting scheduled, our regular meeting scheduled for next Wednesday, primarily to discuss priorities and goals of the group. So please continue to think on that.
Yeah. Before we close, has everybody given it some thought about what we'd like to be doing and we're moving forward, and have they forwarded some ideas to Tracy? Have you had some success in that area, Tracy?
I've had a couple conversations. And Jim, could you actually resend me yours? They came in a format that I couldn't open.
Me?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't remember what format I sent them, but
I think it's like a pages.
you can do PDF, right?
Yeah.
You can do PDF? Okay.
Yes.
I'll try and send them PDF. Very good. If there is no further discussion, motion to adjourn, please.
Brandon?
Brandon, second, please.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions carried. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is Evan
Take
McAuliffe. I'd like to thank you and all the board members on behalf of Tessy Plastics for accommodating these meetings for us. You've really helped move this project along, for being conversant in how to work through the recapture issue and providing an alternative that protects the IDA and Tessy. We really appreciate your help and cooperation and look forward to providing this payroll for the city of Auburn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you all.
Bye.